Welcome to Gulfstream today. Welcome to Gulfstream Park. Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney. It is Sunday, our final day of the week for live racing. Of course, Gulfstream open 7 days a week. We'll talk more about that later. Another beautiful day in South Florida. Our main track is fast. The turf course is firm. Got to carry over a building in the Rainbow Six, but we had a really nice Saturday card yesterday in the Miami Mile. What a nice performance in that race.
It really was. That was our Grade 3 co-feature event. Of course, War Correspondent, the winner from the Christophe Clement barn. We wanted to backtrack a little bit and show that stretch run because it was an impressive performance. It looked like Longshot Applicator. He was the number 6, was intent on the lead. Tyler Gaffleone on the 2. War Correspondent took back, ended up pushing on by to get the win. Very nice win from him.
Very nice win. And Lubash, the other one from the Christophe Clement, was flying at the end. That's that 10-year-old, everybody's favorite horse. So it turned out to be, it was a smaller field, but a really exciting race. And congratulations to the connections of War Correspondent for winning that one. And, I mentioned Sunday, dark for live racing on Monday and Tuesday, but we're right back at it on Wednesday. And not only that, next week is Kentucky Derby and, of course, Kentucky Oaks week here. And we have the biggest parties in South Florida.
Yes, we do. You can come and get your Kentucky Derby t-shirt with your program purchase. We'll have a hat contest. You can get your mint juleps, all of that good stuff. Saturday, May 6th is the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Oaks on Friday, May 5th. That's when you can do advanced wagering on all of the Kentucky Derby card. And don't forget, those 2 days, our first post is $12.55.
$12.55. We got the Derby double, which consists of the Kentucky Oaks on Friday and the Kentucky Derby. It's a very popular bet. And then we also have the Derby pick 3. It's the Kentucky Oaks, the Woodford Reserve, and the Kentucky Derby. So lots of great reasons to be here on Friday.
Yes, absolutely, and Saturday as well. Both days we'll get the chance to watch some horses that have run here locally at Gulfstream. We've been kind of backtracking to some of those exciting championship meet finishes, and today we wanted to look at the Grade 2 Devonadale and Miss Sky Warriors performance for Kelly Breen. She's on the outside in the pink silks. After this run, she blew the field away in the Devonadale. Then she went on and blew the field away in the Gazelle in New York, and she's heading to the Kentucky Oaks now.
I think she's the one to beat. I mean, she's just in fantastic form, and she just cruised to the front here and was a very impressive performance. And, of course, Kelly Breen winters with us here each and every championship season at Gulfstream Park. And a really nice performance by this horse. And moving on, as you mentioned, won the Gazelle, and now the big Oaks on Friday. So lots of reasons to be here Friday and Saturday. And on Saturday, get the chance to win one of those cool Kentucky Derby t-shirts.
Yes, absolutely, and lots of fun stuff to look forward to. We've been talking back and forth. It's, of course, Kentucky Derby season is the most exciting and the most frustrating season, of course, as you're seeing horses get in and horses get out. So be interesting to see after the draw this week, and we'll start getting our picks together, too.
Yeah, we're going to get our picks together. And,
or try, anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to hit it this year. It's been a little bit of a drought, but we'll see how that works out. We'll talk more about that next week because we're going to deal with today's card. Let's show you the wagering menu. Each and every day we have 2 pick 5s. The first one will start in race number 1. And in case she'll show you a ticket in just a few moments. The Rolling Super High 5 today starts in race number 3, I believe. And that's any race with 7 or more runners in there. And as I mentioned, the Rainbow Six is starting to build again, over $16,000 in that pool.
Yes, we had a $50,000 guarantee yesterday. Went way past that in the Rainbow Six sequence. Really fun day yesterday afternoon. We do have a carryover. And then we capped things off with the 50-cent late pick 5. I'll take a stab at that as well. That starts in race 6 today.
Race number 1 is a 5.5 furlong sprint. These are claimers 3-year-olds, $12,500. Couple of scratches in this race of the number 2, Vivid Image, and the number 7, Sailor's Companion. So let's take a look at Acacia's first of 2 pick 5 tickets.
Well, I do have a single in the early pick 5, my best bet today. I'm using 3 horses to start things off, and then I'll single on the number 2, Spurs and Bows. Second off the layoff, and then first off the claim for Angel Rodriguez. That's the horse I just think is the one to beat in that field. Then 2 horses in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and spreading with 4 horses in the last leg. Nice and affordable for $36.
$36, and you got that real nice single. I got that one on top, so we're sort of in agreement in that one. We don't use that. Doesn't usually happen with us, but we'll see how. Now, This race I found to be intriguing because you can go one way or the other. I went with the 4-horse on top, Shackelford Storm. You have it on your ticket too. And the reason one, this one's from Kathleen O'Connell, is dropping to this 12-5 level after dueling for lead and fading. That was against 32 optional claimers at Tampa. The Gelded Son of Shackelford, to me, looks like the speed of the speed at this level and distance. And if you watched the races with us yesterday, speed was certainly what you needed on the main track. I just thought it keyed 2 horses that were on or just off the lead. So it's a bit of a speed play for me. I think it's 8-1 on the morning line, and see how it runs right now up there at 5-2.
And you have one Kathleen O'Connell. I have the other one. And here's my thing with Shackelford's Storm. I certainly respect this horse, and I like that shipping in from Tampa, she does give him a drop in class. We've talked about this before, how Kathleen does an excellent job at both tracks, and she spots horses in the right place to see how they could transfer their form. But I thought that would be the case for Bit of Magic last time out, and he did not deliver. Now, he did have some trouble. He had to steady sharply on the backstretch last time, and then he looked a little bit rank and uncomfortable, and he had steadied a couple times after that. He just never really looked happy with his spot, leading me to believe that he does want to be more forwardly placed and a little bit closer to the pace. I agree with you. Shackelford Storm is going to go. He's the speed of the speed in here for sure. I just wanted to watch one race for him now that he's shipping into Gulfstream. He had raced at Tampa prior to that, Houston before that, so I wasn't really quite sure about how he was going to transfer. I like Bit of Magic in here.
Yeah, and another reason I went the other way, and I mean, you can make a case for both, was Luca Panici, and a lot of people say, well, Luca likes to come from off the pace. One of the best here in South Florida with horses nursing them along on the front end. I used the number 1 in third Forest Waltz, who's changing barns today, Gustavo Amaya. Clay Mix, his first start, he rallied, but that was back on January 26th.
Yes, it was. So he's been off on the bench for about 3 months, and interesting to see that he won last time out going a mile. They immediately cut him back in distance, so a couple reservations there. I did think that the 6 Red Cotton with the blinkers added, he's a horse that's better when he's on or close to the lead, so he should be more forwardly placed today.
Well, race number 2 this afternoon is a 6 furlong claimer, 3 and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. No scratches or jockey changes in here, and it's your single, so take it away.
All right, well, I think the best way to start off is by showing a stat for Angel Rodriguez in the past 5 years. First off the claim, second off the layoff on the dirt. 3 for 5 winning and 5 for 5 in the money, and it is still a positive ROI of 268. Now, this horse, I thought, should have run better than he did last time out. He did take quite a bit of money last time, but he was off of a 6-month layoff for trainer John Service. And he did get in light last time out with apprentice Carlos Hernandez in the saddle. We saw the second-place finisher Woodburn come back to win in a really tough performance yesterday. And there was some making up ground last time out. I think now Spurs and Bows, he has a race under his belt, and that we know that the connection spot horses in the right place.
Yeah, and I like to turn back to 3/4 of a mile from that 6.5. I went with the 6 in second. You went with it in third. Caddy Cat dropping to this level on the dirt. He returned from a layoff. He goes up. He bumps a little bit at the start. He chases really swift fractions in that race. He fades at the quarter-mile pole. He fell against $12,500 types going 5 furlongs on the turf. So a couple of adjustments here with this horse. I think he's part of the pace this afternoon.
I do too. I think that both he and the 5 Archivero will be part of the pace scenario from the outside in here. And Caddy Cat, I should have known you were going to land on this one. 2 starts back, comes out of that monster key race with the top 3 finishers coming back to win. That speed and the class drop should really be key for him.
Let's go to race number 3 this afternoon. This is a 1-mile maiden claimant here. Fillies and mares, 3 and up. This is $12,500. I went to the inside with the number 1, What's Your Dream? 2 for 2 in the money at the distance. Stretches out. Made an outside bid. Finished 5th, going 3/4 a mile. What I like about this horse, and I had to dig deep, was 2 for 2 in the money at the distance. I think it's a wide open race.
Yes, it is. Now, 2 for 2 in the money is definitely something to like. The 0 for 15 on form is something absolutely not to like, and that's why I did look for an alternative, though I respect this horse. I'm taking a bit of a guess here, landing on the number 2, Hopeful Angel, who's switching back to the dirt. And if you look at the last time that she ran on the dirt, it was against Maiden Special Weight Company. So I think you could be forgiving of the fact that she was well beaten that day. So that is technically a very significant drop in class on dirt form from Maiden Special Weight to the Maiden 12.5. And that just might be enough really to wake her up. When she ran against Maiden $50,000 types, she was off a little bit slow, but she did make up some ground in that race, and she finished an okay 4th. So now she's just going to be against the lowest level that she'll have faced, and she just might meet the right field.
And that might be the logical one in there. I have it in 4th. You have it on top of your ticket. I used the number 3 Adios Chic or Chic, whatever way you want to say it. It looks like it should be Chic, but we'll let Pete Aiello decide that. It's stretching out to a 1-turn mile, dual for lead, and finished the second against Simler going 7/8. Your concern, once again, the 0 for 18 record.
Absolutely, but she does have some speed, and she should be forwardly placed in here. I did have some interest in the 4 Irish Star. First off the claim from Marcial Navarro. Beaten as the heavy favorite last time, but does stretch out in distance and hopefully will be a little bit closer to the pace.
Race 4 this afternoon is a 1-mile claim at 4 and up, $6,250. 6 will go to the post in here, and you went with the number 5 horse in there, and that is Gran Identidad. This one is stepping up to face open competition today after a victory last time out.
It was a victory last time out, and it took a couple of starts to get that non-winners of 3 condition, and this is a horse I've been chasing for a little bit of time now. He did cut back to the 7/8 last time out. He'd been running around a mile, 7 furlongs. They stretched him out to a mile and a 1/16. He found a sloppy track, just had a couple little bumps along the road, and then he found the good spot last time out. We saw the 2nd place finisher, Horner Man, come back to win in his next start, and I can understand you going with Fenerbahce. I've just picked that horse so many times, and he should be the speed, but I think Gran Identidad has some tactical ability, and Emisel Jaramillo will be aboard again, who rode him to victory last time.
Well, Fenerbahce, as you mentioned, the number 2 is shortening up to a mile. I like that because a mile here is a 1-turn mile. He set a pressured pace. He finished 3rd. That was the favorite. Was against Simler. Was going a mile in the 16th last time out. The trainer, Alexis Cordero, claimed him 2 starts back. Jesus Rios in the saddle. I used him in on top of my ticket. I also used your 5 horse for all the reasons you mentioned. And I split it with the 4 high-quality Prince, who's turning back to a mile. He got a huge buyer figure. I'm not really that interested in buyer figures all the time. 75 he got, finishing 3rd, but I think it might have been because of the sloppy track.
He might have been aided by the sloppy track, because it was a huge improvement from him, from a 52, 2 starts back to the 75 last time, but he certainly could do some damage in here. I did have some interest at a bit of a price in the 6 Wildcat Kitten to the outside, just a very significant drop in class for him.
And the drop might be just what you need to win the 4th race. With that said, we will take a short break, and race number 5 is where the Rainbow 6 will start. So we'll take that break, and I'll be back with my ticket.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
Race 5 this afternoon, 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf, maiden special weight. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And we do have a scratching here of the number 9 horse, the main track only. And the horse that I put on top is the number 6 Fancy Kitten, one of the horses I certainly used on my Rainbow 6 ticket. Let's show you that ticket right now. And there you see I went 3 deep. And you see I got a single in race number 9, and that is our stake race this afternoon, the Jeblar. And I got the number 4 Zulu, who I think is the one to beat in there. And I was able to spread out $32.40. Today we're starting a little over $16,000. Now the horse I put on top of my ticket was the 6 Fancy Kitten, and I'll tell you why. This one was beating the neck at this level and distance 2 starts back. We're going to show you that in a couple of moments. Returned to the maiden ranks today. Went up and he dueled for the lead. He didn't run badly. He got beat 2 lengths. That was against winners. That was in the $100,000 Sanibel Island. So I just want to go revisit that performance 2 starts back when this horse, you know, he breaks from the outside in that race, and I just want to show you the start there. And you know, he's the number 14 that day, but there was some scratches in there. Actually, it was the 10 in there, but he was listed as 14, 10 starters in there. You see the scratches on the inside, and you see him breaking out there. And I'll just stop it there for 1 second. He had to use all of his energy, I think, to get a position in there. He's right there. And I think that might, affect him later on in the race. Now, we'll let it run. And he's just going, and he's got to get this, position. He's hung out wide. You see him going into the turn. Now he's got to take back. So, and here he is coming through the stretch. You see him right there, and I think he runs a bang-up race in there. He's closing. He's right there, and he just gets beat neck. No sense pointing him out because you can see him. The 14 in that race, he gets beat a neck in there, and I just thought he had that, had to carve out a trip early on in that race. They thought enough of him. They step him up in the next race. 2 stakes. He gets beat only 2 lengths. Backward maiden special weight. I think he's the one to beat now.
Definitely on paper the one to beat. Now, that race that you just showed, she finished behind Bernadiva, who came back to win at Tampa. And her next start, 77 Beyer speed figure, also the 3rd place finisher, Silver Dollar Diva, came back to with an 85 Beyer speed figure to break her maiden. So a very strong race that she performed really well in. And I do think that her hand was forced from the outside post to be up front there early. And she is the type of filly that wants to be on the front end. Unfortunately, she didn't get that in the Sanibel Island because Conquest Hard Candy wired the field for Antonio Sano, which was exactly how she broke her maiden as well, at a price both times. So I respect Fancy Kitten. Looking for some alternatives in here. I did land on top on the number 8 Untruthful Sonnet, just because I think that we don't know what we're going to see for some first-time starters in here, and I just really liked the performance from Untruthful Sonnet. I thought that she broke sharply. She did debut with the blinkers and a shadow roll on, but let some others go to the lead. She didn't look completely settled. I think she wants to be closer to the pace, and then she had no room and swung very wide with a really impressive strong finish last time. So that's why I did land on Untruthful Sonnet, beautifully bred filly by Broken Vow.
Yeah, I mean, she finished 4th. She was beating the length. It's Armando de la Cerda, Embassy Al Jaramillo named to ride. And as you saw in my ticket, did I leave this horse off? No, for all the reasons in case you meant it. Now, the number 4, One Moment in Time. This one is a $280,000 daughter of Bodemeister and a half-sister to a grade 3 winners. One of them called Sum of Parts, the other one called Rocket Heat. Debuting for Mark Cassie.
For Mark Cassie, and I'm sure that on the connections, this filly will take a lot of money. And we'll show a stat on Mark Cassie. I narrowed this down just to the past year because we did see some first-time starters on the turf at Gulfstream win. Actually, I didn't realize it was such a big sample size. So 3 for 29 winning, just 10%, 28% of the time in the money, and a negative ROI of 73. That being said, it's not that it never happens. And this filly, she's by Bodemeister, as you said. Some of the parts won twice on the turf, and Rocket Heat won 4 times on the turf. Though the Dam, who was a multiple graded stakes winner, never did try the grass. She was a dirt sprinter.
Well, we even saw the other horse that you have in 3rd, I have in 4th, is the number 5 horse. I didn't go that deep on my Rainbow Six ticket.
And I was a little bit nervous looking at the multi-race wagers as well, not wanting to leave off Christophe Clement, a first-time starter on the turf with the 5 Resonate.
Yeah, that usually doesn't work out too well for me. So we're going to go to race number 6 this afternoon. This one's 7.5 furlongs on the turf. This is an optional claimer for fillies and mares, 4 and up, started for $8,000 or less, or the optional claiming price of $10,000. And this is where we have our final pick 5 of the day.
Yes, we do. And we'll show you my ticket because now things are back to normal, and I'm trying to pick against Zulu in the stake today, but I will use him. Using 2 horses to start things off. 2, 3, 3. 2 in the stake and 3 in the 10th for $54. I wanted to put Zulu on top, and then I wanted so badly to pick against him, so I will try to beat him with Royal Squeeze, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, I did go on top with the number 5, Thinking of Mom, who's dropping to the $10,000 level, turning back to 7.5 furlongs. Adding blinkers today, rallied to finish 3rd. It was a 20 claimer at the distance, and I thought he was a logical, she was a logical contender in this spot.
Yes, she certainly is, and I thought that she actually really should have won that race last time out. Maybe the blinkers will help. I wouldn't leave her off for anything, but her race 2 starts back. She was stuck behind Vendita, who did wire the field and came back to do the same thing next time out. And last time out, she was gaining strongly. Cajun Queen, I think, was due on that day, but again, I thought Thinking of Mom, it was her race to lose, so we'll see how the blinkers do help her.
Yeah, the horse that you do have on top is Marmalade, and the reason I backed off of Marmalade a little bit, I thought she might get in a duel with Congressional Storm in here, and I want to go back and show you the performance of a couple of horses in this race. The horse that I have in 2nd, that's Chula, and the number 1, Congressional Storm. And we're going to go back and show you this stretch run. Now, the number 1 horse in here is Congressional Storm, and this one's on the lead, dueling, 23-1, dueling with the favorite, looking for money. We'll let it roll here. And that one is the number 1. You just see she's dueling. She's in the lead. She's running great here. Now, you stop it right there. And this is the horse that I want to show you right here, and that is the number 6 horse that day, and that is Wakachula, who I have in second. So we will let this roll now, and this horse just keeps coming. Now this duel, the 1 horse who's also in this race, breaks from the inside again, as I mentioned, was 23-1. That's the favorite on the lead, and here comes Wakachula closing crazily and just gets beat a neck for the whole thing. So I wanted to point it out, and more importantly, I wanted to show, I'm afraid of the 1 horse. I wanted to go deeper with this 1 horse. If you can get that trip again and just go from the rail, might be dangerous for horses like the 2 Marmalade or anybody else that might want to go to the front.
Yes, Congressional Storm last time, it was a big performance from her. She was 23-1 that day, and she showed a lot of improved speed stretching out to the 2 turns on the turf last time, and I think that was really the key from her. I thought it was huge from Wakachula. She was coming off of a 5-month level, or excuse me, a 5-month layoff. Now, second off the layoff on the turf, we'll see if she is able to take a step forward off of that. She had been running at a little bit lower level prior to that layoff, so we'll see if she does fit against these, but I did think that she ran huge to close. Now, Marmalade, I don't think she's a need the lead type, and that's why I liked her. That's why I ended up putting her on top. I think next to her, Just a Darling is need the lead, and Congressional Storm has the rail today, so off of the speed that she showed last time and the success she had, she probably will send again. I expected Marmalade to maybe sit right behind that. We see horses from the barn of Francis McNeely at very good prices sometimes do very well here at Gulfstream. So that is the one that I did end up landing on.
Yeah, no, that was the way, that's the beauty of looking at these races. You think who's going to go to the lead, who's not. But basically, we got the top 3 right on there. And I did use all 3 on my ticket. So, and as we mentioned, Congressional Storm, this one wants to go again. And great form last time out. We'll see how that runs. So, there's speed, there's stalkers, and there's closers.
That's the beauty of horse racing.
The race number 7 this afternoon, 1 mile claimer. These are fillies and mares, 4 and up, $6,250. And I think you got to go with the 1 Venom Girl, right?
Speaking of speed, and this is got to go is a good way to put it, because you see the number 1 Venom Girl, she's dropping in class. Now, this is a level where she has had a lot of success. Now, off of the claim, she won at the 62.50 level by 14 lengths when she was with Safi Joseph Jr. She was claimed, they stepped her up, they put her in the grade 2 Royal Delta. Of course, that didn't work out too well for her. And now she is back at a level where she does seem to fit. She has the rail post position. I think she's just going to go and run away from the rest of the field. And there doesn't look to be really any other speed in here of anybody else to go with her.
And she's a popular sort. She's been claimed in 4 of her last 6 races. She's the daughter of Stevie Wonderboy. And you mentioned all the reasons. The drop, classes up perfectly in the spot. Now, a horse I did not use in my ticket you have in second, and that's the 6 Roller Gal. So Roller Gal, let's see why I did not use it.
Well, I really like this horse at a bit of a price. I think it's a big jockey change to Emmy Snail Jaramillo in the saddle, and it's a very significant drop in class. She is just 3 for 42 on form, but if you look through her past performances, she's been running against much, much tougher company. We talked about the class relief for Venom Girl. Venom Girl's already proved herself against this level, whereas Roller Gal has just been unfortunately stuck running against tougher foes. Again, she has the significant jockey change, and last time out, she actually does come out of the same race as Venom Girl, but she was stuck very, very wide in that race and wasn't able to really make a big move. So we'll see if class drop helps her.
The class drop is what we're seeing with the number 6 Roller Gal. I did go with the number 4 Miss Visconti in second. Wheeling back today, same level in distance. She went up, she pressed the pace, she finished a clear second last time out. Manny Estevez, Jose Batista in the saddle, and I just think this horse has got to be smart enough, the connections, not to run with Venom Girl early, but to sit that stalking trip. You have it somewhere on your ticket, and we both had interest in the number 7 Grand Chama.
And this would be the only other one I thought that might be forwardly placed to the outside. Emmy Snail Jaramillo, again, is on Roll It Gal, but Grand Chama does get Tyler Gaffleone up. Certainly a good thing there. She does have to rebound off of that performance last time.
Well, let's go to race number 8 this afternoon. 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf. These are maiden claimers, fillies and mares. 3-year-olds and up, $25,000. We do have 2 scratches in here now. We got the 1 go forward and take out the main track only, number 9, Helen Virginia. And I went with the number 3. Well, we're sort of in agreement once again. You got to box our selections around, but we'll started with your top pick, and that is the number 4 horse in here, and that's Night Before.
And some guesswork certainly involved in this one, and I guess this is a little bit of homework because her debut race for Night Before, she was in the same race that we were talking about earlier, where Fancy Kitten was beaten just by a neck. Of course, Fancy Kitten still running against tougher competition. Bernadiva came back to win, as did Silver Dollar Diva, as I mentioned. But Night Before, 2 races so far at the maiden special weight level, was stuck along the rail actually in both of those, and now does get a significant drop in class to the maiden $25,000 level, and I just think that she fits here. I think she's got some experience under her belt now, and I actually did scratch into her because I did have the one Go Forward on top originally, but looking at what I was left with, I thought the class drop might help.
Well, I originally had the 1 horse in second. I did have the number 3 Bar Libre on top, and I think this horse finds a perfect spot to shed the maiden tag after tracking the pace, finishing 3rd behind a repeat winner called Lover's Key at this level and distance last time out. I thought that was a nice performance in there. So put that one on top of my ticket. And then, you know, I had your horse. I moved it further down, talking about the 4 with the drop Night Before. And we both had some interest in the 7, Natrona Girl.
Yes, and I really do like this one and in this field. I actually almost put her on top after the scratches, but Natrona Girl, 6-1 on the morning line, does have a sibling that won on the turf. The dam was unraced, but she's by Put It Back. And looking at some stats, I was actually surprised by this one. First-time starters on the turf and maiden claiming. David Fox is 6 for 19, so 32% winning, and 8 for 19 in the money with an ROI of more than $7. Had some big prices in there, and you might get a good price on this filly.
Yeah, and I think she's bred up and down to run well on the turf in there, and you talked about her siblings and the connections. David Fox, of course, and gets Lasix for the debut. So a horse I think you got to use on your ticket in there. I used the 8 Bourbon Honey, moved to the Fernando Abreu bond after claiming the, you know, after the claim, tracked the pace, was the tepid favorite that afternoon, backed up in that race to finish 8th behind the race I mentioned, Lover's Key and Bar Libre. So this horse was favored making its debut, had enough interest from the barn of Fernando Abreu to claim it, bring it back. So maybe this horse is better than that last race, might make you believe.
Maybe it could be, and we don't normally see Mike Maker win first time out. I think it was just the fact that Jose Ortiz was in the saddle. It was from the Mike Maker barn that people were betting this filly. Lover's Key wired the field that day, and that's why I think everybody was kind of up against it after that.
Let's go to our 9th end feature race this afternoon. 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds, and up $75,000 guaranteed. It is the Jablar, and we have a scratching here of the number 1 horse, High Kodiak Warrior. And we've been talking about Zulu, and she was talking about beating Zulu, so I went with the 4 Zulu. As you remember, my Rainbow 6 was the single. Turning back to a distance where she's a perfect 2 for 2. She bumped at the start. She stalked 4 wide. I want to go back and show your performance in the skip away. We're just going to show you the stretch run. And this is sort of cautionary, so we're going to let it roll right there. This is sort of cautionary because I thought she should have ran better. You see her, stop her right there. She is on the inside right there, the number 4 horse. And I got the wrong thing there. Clear that. I wanted to get the arrow. Yeah, there it is, right there. And I just thought that this horse, Watch It Go, would do more in the stretch, you know. And it just, she sort of just stayed there and ran, in, you know, in second in that. And I just thought, you know, turning back, she loves 7 furlongs. You see her on the inside there. And I thought we'd get more out of her that afternoon, and we just didn't. So it's sort of a cautionary backtrack that I wanted to show. Ends up finishing, you know, comes on and finally gets second there just as they cross the wire.
This is a very interesting race, and I actually disagree with you a little bit because I actually thought that was a good race from Zulu in there, and he ran better than I expected. We saw Flashy Jewel, the gray, go out and looked like he was going to wire the field. He was drifting a bit. Fear the Cowboy came closing as he was stopping. And I thought Zulu was re-rallied along the rail a little bit last time out. Now, what does concern me a bit is that this has just been a tough horse to predict all along and to see what he is actually capable of. And I wanted to show a stat on trainer Todd Pletcher in the past 5 years on the dirt, going from route to sprint in non-graded stakes at Gulfstream. He's only done it 3 times, and he was 2 for 3. One of them winning was Zulu off of that layoff when he came back and to win in the Tamarack, and the other one to win was Dame Dorothy in 2015 Sunshine Million Distaff. So I just thought that that was an interesting stat, that this turn back in distance is not really something that Todd Pletcher does. It looked like Zulu came off of the layuff. I remember talking to Todd after the Tamarack. Zulu, he's just always a horse that he sweats a lot before the race. He looks like he's very worked up. He looked a little bit distracted. He did kind of gut out the victory in the Tamarack, but that pace scenario was changed because the main pace setter in that race did stumble out of the gate. Todd saying he wanted to continue stretching him out in distance. That was just going to be a base for him. So to me, it kind of looks like this is a last-ditch effort to cut him back to 7 furlongs.
Well, you made a good case not to use him. I got him as my single. So Royal Squeeze, tell us about that one.
No, this is the one that I did land on as an alternative. And believe me, this is a guess for sure. If Zulu won today, Ron, I would not be surprised at all. But I'm trying to pick against him. Royal Squeeze coming off a layoff for trainer Ralph Nix. He also has my Loot in here. But I think Royal Squeeze has some speed, and he comes out of very strong races. And in contrast, he really likes this distance and has been consistently running at this distance. He's 2 for 5. He's stakes placed. He's got some back class to him. In the race that he comes out of, we saw Angry Moon come back to win. Iron Fist came back to be second in the Grade 3 ACAC.
Well, let's go to our final race this afternoon. 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. Maiden claim is Fillies Mastery and up $12,500. Scratch the number 6. Jockey change on the 9. Make the rider Ramsey Zimmerman. I went with the number 10 horse right on top in here. Icy Surprise stretching out to 1 mile and 16. Had some trouble in its last race. I want to go back and show you this before. We're first going to show this, the horse going into the first turn here. It's breaking on the outside this afternoon. It's the number 8, and we're just going to let it roll here from the start, and you'll see it go. And we're going to get up here, and you're just going to see right here when the horse is going into the first turn, the jock is looking over, and he's just trying to find a spot to get some position in there. It sort of gets pushed out. You could stop it right there. You can see it's just a mad charge right in there that everybody is all, pretty close in there, and I think the horse has to jostle for position. So I just thought that was some of the trouble. Let it roll now, and you're just going to see comes around, and they're banging in there and everything. Like, they're really hard to find a nice spot to run. Now we're going to switch to the stretch here, and we're going to pick up the 8 horse here. As he's coming into the stretch, you see him, he just makes the move outside. We'll stop it right there, and he's coming down, and he's running fairly well in this race. So I just think that, he's going to run well in there. We'll let it roll again and just finish it up here with the rest of the way. And you can see the 8 coming down the stretch and just runs good and finishes third. And more importantly, I think this horse sits behind the speed this afternoon, and I think he runs well in that spot.
Certainly could, and I know you've been trying to get horses from the outside post. This is a mile and a 16th, which is much better than the 7.5 or the mile distance. And that was her first start with the blinkers on as well. She was more forwardly placed. Emmy Sale Jaramillo going to be in the saddle, and I like you've got an 8-to-1 shot right on top.
That's my long shot of the day too, so I put him right on top. So Icy Surprise. Now, how'd you see it?
Well, I did go with the speed play in here, and that's with the 4 Little Queen, who is getting a drop in class, and I just thought that really could be key. She's got a good inside post in here. There might be some other speed, probably from the 8 Lake of the Isles. Primarily I would imagine be the other speed, but I just thought that Little Queen could be faster, and she could be tactical as well. We'll show a stat on trainer Carlo Vaccarezza. This really did it for me to put it right on top on the turf. In the money last time out at the maiden claiming level, this is in the past 5 years. 4 for 10 winning and 7 for 10 in the money. Positive ROI of 218.
Yeah, that's something when you see that stat there. And Little Queen, I got it on a ticket in second. I just wanted to use Icy Queen. Actually went 3 deep in this race with my Rainbow 6 ticket. We're sort of in agreement, and that's how we see the Sunday card. And we're going to turn it over to Pete Aiello in just a couple of moments. He'll give you all the scratches and updates, and we'll be back in just a bit to look through the Sunday card.
We have to take care of these horses that, give us so much joy.